Hello. In this video I'll just be going over some standard, some general tips and tricks you can utilize as a Marine Commander if you haven't heard them already. So we'll begin with tip number 1, which is checking for the hive at the beginning of the game. There are a few tricks you can do, but the most commonly used is the med spam. You can basically drop them on tech points, and if you see them drop straight on the floor, it means that it's clear. So this is clear, and if you see this, medpack is dropping on top and then falling down, it means there's a hive here, and you can tell your Marines where the hive is, and they can expect some pressure. And in this case, they would expect some pressure most of the time here, and you can be prepared for it. Tip number 2, when the building is under attack, you always want to click on it and check how fast the HP is going down, because this will tell you how many aliens are on it and how many aliens are in this room. So especially when extractors are under attack and you want a guy to defend it, you just click on it, you can see how fast it's going down, and then you can say there's 1 scope, maybe 2, maybe even more. If there's even more, you can prepare for that. This also brings me to a general rule you have to keep in mind when defending RTs. That is, you always want to have the respawners defend RTs. So if this is under attack, you don't want to send guys back from the front line to defend it. You want to always send one of the guys who is respawning in base to move up and defend it. If you don't have any people respawning, then you have to send 1 guy back, but never more than 1. Because if you send too many people back, you are being too defensive. So if you have 2 people here and this is under attack, you keep 1 guy here to build or to keep pushing on, and you send one guy back to defend it. You don't want to keep too many Marines busy defending. You should be able to have enough with just the 1 respawner or 1 falling back. Another tip I can give you is about scanning. Most of the times when you have Marines pushing into some place that might contain some aliens, you want to scan ahead. So if they're moving into the room, you want to scan this while the Marines are coming up. You don't want to wait until they are here to scan, because if you do this, they will know where the alien's at, and when they move in, they can start focus firing. And then if you start building a PG here, and you want to make sure no aliens are gonna rush those Marines, you don't want to scan this. Most commanders do this and scan this room. This is not terrible, but it's much more effective if you scan the entrances into the room. So basically you scan this here. You scan this here, you spend double the rest of course, but this will let Marines know much earlier if aliens are coming up to hit them. So it's much more preferable. Another tip I can give you for your commanding is, when do you want to get out of the CC and help defend? This depends on different situations, but in general, if you're expecting a base rush and you don't have anybody in base, but you have people respawning, you want to get out. You want to, well, if there are mines, you want to kind of stay on the mines and shoot the skulls and try to bait them on the mines. If there are no mines, you want to get out of the room, well, not entirely, but get way back into the room so you can shoot them from afar. If they try to bite your IP, you can snipe them. If they go after you, you just keep pulling them back, and this will buy enough time for the respawners to respawn and defend base. If you wait too long, if you get out of the chair when the aliens are already here munching, you will just be taken out, and then might be GG already. So you want to be fast with your decisions. If you decide to stay in the chair and you don't have people coming back, and you see this stuff is getting bitten down quite fast, then the only thing left to do is to drop a second CC, tell your Marines to go there, and relocate. Other than that, you should be able to defend if you have mines up, and then if you expect a base rush, just get out and move away from the IPs. Also, you don't want to panic too much. If you're seeing a base rush coming, or you expect a base rush coming after this is sort of cleared by Skulkback, you don't want to send everybody on the field back to defend base. Most of the times you want to send one guy back, maximum two. In this case, sort of like, say you're in the first minute and you have one Marine and Cross and two on this side and two on the other side, and these guys get killed by a group of Skulks, and they kill the CC, the RT, or the RT is not built, and you think they're gonna rush base. Then you can send one guy back, you can get out, you can move to this position, one guy is coming to help you. You have the two guys who died who are respawning, and you should be able to deal with the Skulks. And in the same time, you want the one in Cross to push for a Harvester, and you want the other guy here to just keep capping in the meantime. If you send too many people back, they're just going to be too defensive in the end, so you have to take a sort of a little gamble that you will able to deal with a Skulkback just by 2 Marines. Which should be okay, if you can pull them back long enough for the respawners to get in. Also, something you want to keep in mind regarding base rushes is you don't want to beacon too early, depending on how much T-Rash you have. Because if you beacon and you beacon a bit too late and you don't have enough rest to drop a second CC, you might lose the game because aliens focus on the CC and take it down before all the Marines have time to take down the aliens. So you want to sort of see what they are going for before you do anything. If you see they are going straight for the ops, you might still want to beacon if you think you can get it out before the ops goes down. If you see they are going straight for the CC, you have to check your rest count, and you have to realize if you're not on enough rest to drop a second CC and beacon, you have to make a decision. And a lot of the times, if you decide to beacon, you might risk losing the CC and losing the game. So safer play would be to send Marines to build a second CC. Just drop one here in a good location where we have maybe a phase gate set up. And then even if they take down the CC, you can still defend the base and get more IPs up. If they go for the power, then that's something else. Then you most likely want to beacon. If you go for the ops, you can beacon if you're fast enough. If you have Marines in positions to phase, it's not really big of a problem if you lose the ops. The only thing you really have to worry about if they're going for the CC, because this is how you can lose games. This is also why if you're starting to push for hives in the late game, you have to be prepared for a base rush, and if you have enough rest to spare, it's good to drop a second CC and build it before you go out to push and kill hives, because then you're already prepared a bit. And the last thing I wanted to say is, as a Marine Commander, you always have to keep an eye on your front line, meaning that you don't want to see any gaps in your defensive line or offensive line, depending on how you call it. Meaning you don't want too many Marines on one location and then have other locations completely open. You want to sort of keep Marines in a good position, one here like one here. You want to make sure, one here, that the Skulls have a hard time getting behind the lines. And this will keep your extractors safe, and this will keep your base safe. So just keep an eye on the splits, and if you have too many people on one side, you make sure that they are plugging up the gaps. So that's it for this video. I'll do the map strategies in later videos. So see you then.